Greetings, Brian. Wow, this was a long time coming. I do apologize that it took so bloody long to get around to doing this answering your questions video. I didn't realize how long it had actually been until I looked at the date on the audio letter. Oops, sorry. It's been a crazy couple of months. You probably noticed I haven't even posted that many videos. It's mostly just been doing the live shows and stuff because, well, they don't require any effort as far as shooting and editing and whatnot. They just kind of, turn on the chat room and go. But yeah, definitely planning to do more videos in the near future and sort of getting some stuff caught up. And wanted to get this Q&A out of the way because I know you've been waiting with bated breath for it. So, okay, so I finally finished listening to. I actually still have to listen to some of the audio letter, but I at least I kind of skimmed through a little bit of it, and I did go to the section where you had the specific questions you wanted to ask me. So. Let's get right to it. So just pardon me while I glance over there. I have everything up on my computer screen. My printer is busted, so I wasn't able to actually print it out. Okay, so first question. You're just curious if I'd watched any of the other stuff you've sent me over the years. Well, yes, I have. I honestly don't remember specifically which ones. I know for a fact I still haven't watched Revolutionary Girl Udina. I really need to get on that because I know you've been hyping that one up to me for quite some time. So I'll make sure to watch that in the near future and check it out, see what all the hype's about. But yeah, I know that I've watched a lot of the other ones, but honestly, it was so long ago I don't remember, and I've watched so much stuff in the interim that the memory isn't quite what it used to be. But rest assured, I have watched at least some of them. I'm sure I haven't watched all of them because I know you sent quite a bit of stuff. But and some of them actually inspired me to go out and get the the original editions and whatnot. Like, for example, you sent me a copy of Superman Doomsday, and I went out and bought the Blu-ray of that because, obviously I wanted to see it on Blu-ray if I could. And so I definitely watched that, and I think I talked about it in a video a while back. Great stuff, really, really good stuff. Yeah, so yeah, I'm slowly working my way through everything. I mean, as you see, a lot of I get a lot of stuff from viewers, yourself, well, between you and Frank, wow, there's just so much stuff to watch. It's literally a matter of just finding enough hours in the day sometimes to check them out. Got Frozen yet? Well, actually, bit of a spoiler here, but yes. Frozen. My mom actually sent this to Rosie and I in a recent package. Might be a package opening of that at some point soon. Sorry for the spoiler. That's going to be in the package, but you get to see Rosie's reaction anyway, and she's, needless to say, pretty excited. Rosie absolutely loves this movie. I still haven't watched it, actually. She watched it, when she got it, she watched it when I was still asleep. And I saw a little bit of it while I was away, just sort of bits and pieces, but looks like pretty impressive animation, as you would expect from Disney and such. A lot of music in it. It just seems like extra musical compared to other Disney films of recent years. So yeah, I'll check that out at some point, but I can definitely tell you that Rosie loves it. And you're asking me my thoughts on the Season 3 re-release of the 80s Ninja Turtles DVDs, and thoughts on sort of how much we spent on the 4 volumes versus the cost of the Season 3 set. Yeah, well, I bought the 4 volumes, honestly, fairly cheap. I don't think I paid more than $10 for any one individual volume. However, I'll toss up a picture, actually. This is the Season 3 re-release, which came out recently, for those of you who don't know. So they have actually compiled together all 4 volumes. It was originally volumes 3, 4, 5, and 6. You may remember my TMNT disambiguation from many moons ago. They recently compiled them all together into just a collective Season 3 set, so it makes it a lot easier to to collect. I also noticed that they slightly repackaged Volume 2 and are now calling it Season 2, which of course is what it is and what it's always been, but it just makes it a lot more clear what it is. The only one that isn't clearly numbered is Season 1, but I think most of us know that that's the original miniseries on that disc, as well as some Season 10 episodes as a bonus. And you're asking, should they do a complete Season 7? Well, actually, funny you mentioned that. Maybe you didn't remember from my video many moons ago. But they actually did do a complete Season 7. I know because I own it. So this has all 4 volumes of Season 7 together in one handy keep case with a nice slipcover. The only thing missing, of course, is the figurines, which came with the individual volumes. But you get all the on-disc content and all the. Was there any extras on here? Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of extras on here. Yeah, so you get all the extras. You get all the on-disc content. It's basically just a repackage of the same discs. But yeah, I picked up the Season 7 set solely for the purpose of saving on shelf space, because the other ones were quite bulky, just to make room for the figurines in there. So it was it would have been nice to have the figurines, but honestly it wasn't that big a deal to me. For me, it was more about the show, so I was glad that they did that. Lionsgate has really gone all out as far as making the Turtles accessible in a variety of formats. It's the one series out of all the Ninja Turtles series that I think has really been done right. The only one complaint I have is the earlier volumes having way too many episodes crammed on the discs. It would have been nice if they'd split it up over a couple discs so they could use a higher bit rate. So you do see some pixelization, especially on the Season 2 set, which has 13 episodes crammed onto a single disc. So yeah, but anyway, I think it's great. I mean, it makes it a lot easier for folks who are looking to collect them now. Makes it a lot cheaper as well. I think the Season 3 set only goes for about $10, so you definitely save some money there. But I don't really have any complaints. It is what it is. I mean, I got them when they came out. I could have waited, but then I wouldn't have had Season 3 for a long time until after they'd completed the rest of the series. So, if someone's collecting it now, I think it makes it a lot easier. You don't have to worry so much about what are these volumes, where do they fit in. But yeah, no, I think it's fine. I mean, it's I probably wouldn't go out and repurchase them just because I already have the discs. Maybe at some point, I don't know. We'll see. But it's not a priority, definitely. I mean, I'm perfectly content with the version of the set that I have. I also, by a similar token, I have no desire to get the Turtle Van, even though I know it's out of print and it's really expensive now anyway. But even when it came out, I had no desire to get the Turtle Van simply because it's just a repackage. It's the exact same discs that are in all of the individual sets, and I had no desire to double dip on those. I mean, the Turtle Van is cool as a display piece and all, but in terms of the packaging, honestly, I prefer having actual proper cases because it protects the discs better. Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like the discs weren't as well protected in that. I can't remember how they were in there, if they were stacked or if they were in like slots. I think they were in slots or something like that. But anyway, yeah, I had no desire to get that. So anyway, carrying on. The Transformers movie Blu-ray. Why do people say that features don't work on it when they do? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. When I do plan to get the Blu-ray, absolutely. And when I do, I will check the features for myself. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you just have a really good Blu-ray player that can handle multiple regions. Have you thought of that? Maybe you have a multi-region Blu-ray player and didn't even realize it. I don't know. It's possible. I would be inclined to throw a Region 2 disc in there and just see if, like a Region 2 DVD, just to see if it plays. So that's something you might want to check out and give it a try. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe some of the features are region locked or won't play on some players because they're PAL video instead of NTSC. Because I know my PS3, for example, will play It isn't too picky about Blu-ray regions, but when it comes to DVD content, it definitely is. It won't play if it's anything but region 1, and it won't play even if it's region free. It won't play it if it's PAL video, like the UK video standard. It'll only play it if it's NTSC. So yeah, so sometimes it's not even region; it's just the video format. I do notice that the Blu-ray has a lot of the same features from the UK Ultimate set, which is awesome, like the Peter Cullen interview and Scramble City and stuff like that. And that's great. It's good to see those extras alive and well, because they are some excellent extras. But that said, I mean, I know that on the Ultimate Edition DVD, they were PAL. They were PAL video and Region 2. So, as I say, maybe you just have a region-free player and didn't realize it. You know, that's something to consider. And in which case, that would be why some people wouldn't be able to play those features, because they may not have a region-free player. So that's definitely something to consider. Thoughts on the Transformers 4 trailer? I think it looks okay. I kind of like that they're going in a different direction now, and kind of getting away from, I don't know, some of the threads from the old one, and just sort of starting fresh, but within the same continuity, I guess. I just saw the third movie for the first time recently, and I thought it was a vast improvement over the second one. Honestly, I mean, it was the first Transformers movie of the trilogy we haven't seen the fourth one, so we can't really say, but of the first three, that really felt like a Transformers movie, if you know what I mean. Because, I mean, they took a lot of the story from, elements of the story from the original series. You know, there was, a very clear nod to the Ultimate Doom storyline from the first season of the original series. So that was really nice to see, some kind of adaptation of that. You had Leonard Nimoy come back as a main character, and he even quoted some of the lines from not only from Star Trek but from the original Transformers movie. So that was cool to see, sort of a throwback to that. Kind of an early 30th anniversary treat, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I actually really thought they did a good job of it compared to the previous one. I always liked the first one. The second one, well, you know my thoughts on the second one. But the third one I thought was a vast improvement. So for the first time in quite a while, I might actually be inclined to see Transformers 4 in the theater, just to check it out on the big screen. So thoughts on the Days of Future Past trailer? Well, this is how long it's been since you did the thing and I did the package opening. The movie's already come out. I haven't got around to seeing it yet, unfortunately. I don't know if I'm actually going to get the chance. It's not so much about lack of funds anymore, but more lack of time. I work nights, and I'm working nights through most of the summer, so it's hard to find the time to get out to the movie theater to see movies. I try to get out when I can. Whenever it's something that's appropriate for both Rosie and I, I'll go when I have Rosie, and we'll both go and enjoy a movie night together. But stuff like Days of Future Past and Godzilla. I really want to get out to see Godzilla. A little too intense for her at this point in time, I think. So, but I definitely like what I've seen, and from what I've heard from people, I've heard nothing but good things from people, basically saying, like, yes, the X-Men movies are finally back on track. Now, I always said that Days of Future Past should have been the third movie. I think they really derailed when they didn't do that for the third movie, and that's where the problems started. So I'm glad to see them finally back on track, and apparently it ties up the continuity quite nicely, and I've heard even eradicates the third movie from canon, which I really like a lot. Thank you, Bryan Singer. Thank you. So, I definitely look forward to seeing it and seeing how it all plays out. I mean, I've got all the other X-Men movies right up to the Wolverine, so I'm definitely, I mean, even if I don't get out to see it in the theater, I will definitely be picking it up as a blind buy, because from everything I've heard, I know that I'm going to enjoy it. Thoughts on manufacturer-on-demand titles And why do you think they do manufacturer on demand instead of regular releases? Well, the answer to that question is very simple. Is because it costs more to do a regular release. I mean, you actually got to send it to a pressing plant to press the DVDs. Like, it's a whole different process than just burning a DVD. So with manufacturer on demand, it's a lot cheaper. Well, and the other thing is with pressing discs, they have to do like a minimum number of them in order to justify the cost. I mean, the more you press, the less it costs per disc to create. With manufacturer on demand, someone orders one, you're only making one. So that's way less expense. So you don't have to worry about bulk discounts and all that stuff. It's just way more economical. So I mean, what the studios are using manufacturer on demand for is titles that there is limited demand for, like niche demand, if you will, but not enough to justify a full-scale release in, like a wide release, because they just wouldn't it wouldn't justify the expense of doing a wide release. So they do it as manufacturer on demand, so the people who want it can get it, but they don't have to take as big of a risk on it. So it's for, I guess, high-risk titles, ones that may be more of a niche interest and stuff like that, or ones where maybe, TV shows, for example. I've seen a lot of TV shows where the first couple of seasons will have had a wide release, and then the remaining seasons will be released as on-demand titles. The reason for that, again, is very simple. They tried it as a wide release. They didn't sell enough to justify continuing the wide releases, but there's enough demand to justify doing it as on-demand. So they do it that way. So at least the fans who are interested in collecting the rest of them can get them, even if they're not available in wide release. So, yeah, I think it's a great option. Because it's allowed us to get a lot of content that we might not have otherwise been able to get if they just stuck with the wide releases. So, I mean, for example, GoBots. We're getting the entire series of GoBots, finally, but only as a manufacturer-on-demand title. So, that's cool. I'm glad that they're doing that. Asking if I've ever considered getting a Wii U. Maybe. I've mentioned this before. I've wanted to get some kind of Nintendo system for a very, very long time. I've never actually owned any of the Nintendo systems. Back in the day, my friends and I would just rent the NES, and we rented the Super NES, and then, I played the occasional... my stepfamily owned an N64, so I played a lot of N64 games. And then some of my friends had GameCubes, so I would play on the GameCube a bit. I haven't really played anything on the Wii or the Wii U, other than the occasional store demo. But that's about it. But I would be inclined to pick one up for sure. I mean, to play. I assume it's backwards compatible with the Wii. In particular, what I'm interested in is Nintendo's online arcade, where you get to play a lot of the older games, like older Nintendo games and such, on the current system. That's really appealing to me, because I'm definitely all about the retro, man. But yeah, I mean, I love Nintendo, and I love Nintendo games, and I always have, and I love their exclusive franchises, Mario and Star Fox and Zelda and all those. And I'd love to be able to sit down and play a lot of those games I've never played, because I haven't owned any of the more recent systems. Well, any of the systems, really. I just would rent them or play at friends' places. So, yeah, I might be inclined to get a Wii U. Yeah, I'd have to research it a little more. I don't know if maybe just the regular Wii would more sort of suit my needs, but yeah, we'll see. It's definitely something I would consider. And asks again, ever going to consider getting the Transformers movie Blu-ray? Well, I think I answered it earlier with your earlier questions about it. Yes, absolutely. I absolutely plan to get it if it isn't sent to me by a viewer, which it may be. I've actually, since mentioning it in the package opening, I've had several viewers offer to send it to me, so I might be able to get that fairly easily. We'll see how that pans out. And then you asked if I'd ever seen the Chipmunk Adventure, the 1987 movie, and if I'm planning to get the Blu-ray. I honestly, I don't know if I've actually seen it. I used to watch the show, Alvin and the Chipmunks, the 80s Alvin and the Chipmunks cartoon, all the time. It was pretty much a staple of Saturday mornings, and I used to watch it quite regularly. I had actually, until you mentioned it, I had completely forgotten that they did a theatrical movie. But yeah, I would absolutely like to get that. And apparently you mentioned that there's a Blu-ray edition out. Yeah, I would definitely like to get that, because I think it's something that both Rosie, well, I would enjoy for nostalgia, and Rosie would just enjoy as, a good cartoon movie. I haven't seen any of the live-action Chipmunk movies, like the more recent ones. I don't know, they don't really appeal to me that much, but I do love the 80s cartoon, because I guess for nostalgia, it's the one I grew up with, so it's the one I know. And finally, we have the big question. Once again, this one comes up every time. Well, let's take a look at it again with some of the new things that have come to light. You were saying how Transformers the movie, the Chipmunk Adventure movie, and even some of the Scooby-Doo movies have had Blu-ray releases, which, as a bonus, add a few episodes from the respective shows that they're based on. For example, Transformers Blu-ray has an episode of Beast Wars. Chipmunks has some episodes of, I guess, Alvin and the Chipmunks. Scooby-Doo movies have episodes from any number of Scooby-Doo shows. So the question is, any chance of 80s cartoons hitting Blu-ray? Well, I mean, as you know, we've had the German releases. You mentioned this in your audio letter there. We have the German releases where they've actually just done it as what I like to call shovelware, where they've put an entire 65 episode series of something onto a single Blu-ray disc. Now, I know that those are just standard definition. There isn't any improvement in quality or anything. They've literally just taken standard definition masters and dumped them onto a Blu-ray. So there's nothing special or exciting about them, really. They've just they've done it solely for the purpose of utilizing the extra disc space that you get. So just using Blu-ray solely as a storage medium in that case. You're not getting any boost in quality. It's just the standard def episodes thrown onto a Blu-ray disc to take advantage of the extra space. And because there's so much space and standard def takes up so little space comparatively, they're able to fit the entire series on a single disc, which is crazy. So if they did that with Transformers, for example, they could fit the entire series on like 2 discs easily. Like all 98 episodes on 2 Blu-ray discs, but they would be standard definition. So you were saying how Pee-wee's Playhouse, why is Pee-wee's Playhouse getting a Blu-ray release? Well, very simple. It was shot on 35mm film. And you mentioned, does it depend on what kind of film, 35mm, like movie film or video film? I need to make a distinction here. Video is not film. Video is video. Film is film. The two are completely different. Film, I mean, you can take a strip of film and hold it up to the light and actually see the image. You can see the individual frames. Video, you hold that up to the light, it's just a strip of plastic with microscopic magnetic particles on it. Here's the thing, is the reason we can have these older movies and shows and whatnot that exist on film look so much better on Blu-ray isn't because they've created new detail. No, the reason is because that detail has always been present in the source, but what we've been viewing it on is a lower quality medium that is incapable of reproducing that detail. So we've been watching on VHS or DVD or what have you. Now, conversely, the way videotape works is it's microscopic magnetic particles on a strip of plastic, basically like a plastic tape, and we have to put it into a machine to decode that information. Now here's the thing, each format of tape is only capable of reproducing a finite amount of resolution. So VHS, for example, would be a little better than VCD quality if we were to put it in digital terms. Broadcast quality, standard definition video would be about DVD quality. So the problem is, with the way that tape is encoded, you cannot get better quality than what it was encoded at and what that format is capable of. So if all it exists is a standard definition master tape, then that is the best that material will ever possibly look. That is as good as it can look. You can, all upconverting does, don't kid yourself into thinking that upconverting adds detail. It does not. All it does is actually reduces detail, technically speaking. All upconverting does is take standard def content and smooth it out a little bit so it doesn't look so pixelated and jaggy on a high def TV. That's all it does. It does not add any detail. You cannot create detail out of thin air. The detail needs to be present on the source material if it's going to be reproduced on Blu-ray. So in the case of film, the detail has always been there. 35 millimeter film in particular, the detail, I don't know if you fully understand how high the detail is on 35 millimeter film. I mean, it is phenomenal. Best way to describe it is, bear in mind, 35 millimeter film is what has been used for decades, since the dawn of film, to project images on a huge theatrical screen. That is how high the detail is. The detail is so high that it is designed to be shown on a massive screen. So you're taking that image and shrinking it down to the size of your high-def TV on a Blu-ray, or shrinking it down even more to cram it onto, to down convert it to DVD quality. So, I mean, you're limited by what format you're watching on in that case. I mean, even Blu-ray isn't film quality. It's a lot closer than DVD, but it's still not film quality. But the main point here is film is vastly superior quality to any standard definition video source. So if the source material exists on film, then absolutely yes, they could do a high definition Blu-ray and it would look beautiful. I mean, take a look. They're doing older shows. They're doing stuff like Dick Van Dyke and Andy Griffith and The Honeymooners and I Love Lucy. Why? Because those were all shot on 35 millimeter film. That's why. But notice, they're doing shows from like way back in the 50s and 60s. This is before they started editing and mastering on video. I mean, you could do that for shows all the way up to the 70s, until you hit that point, and probably even the early 80s. Until you hit that point in the mid-80s, all the way through most of the 90s, where they decided for some reason it was a good idea to shoot everything on film and then edit and master on standard def video. So in the case of Pee-wee's Playhouse, everything was edited and mastered on standard def video back in the day, but they still have the original film elements, like the actual original physical film that was in the camera when they were shooting it. So they're just taking those elements and reconstructing the episodes with new high definition scans of those film elements. They've done the same thing with Star Trek: The Next Generation, where they're taking the original film and put it all together, and basically reconstructed the episodes and redone the post-production effects and such in high definition to prepare it for Blu-ray. So could they do that with certain 80s cartoons where film elements exist? Yes, they could do it in theory. Like, for example, Transformers, they have the 35 millimeter work prints, but there's a lot of mistakes in them. Well, they could scan the 35 millimeter work prints, and then but then they would have to actually go in and physically recreate those mistake shots and fix them. And that's where I think we run into the problem, is that it's no big deal to just scan film in high definition, but if you're going to go in and fix things that are wrong with that film, it means, in the case of a cartoon, it means literally having to redraw frames from scratch, and that is a huge time commitment and a huge expense to do that. So I think we run into the problem of not whether or not certain shows, whether or not it's possible for certain shows to be put on Blu-ray, but rather whether or not the cost of preparing them for Blu-ray in high definition would be justified, and if the studios would actually see a point to doing that. Because, I mean, with Transformers, just to use as an example, most fans who want Transformers have Transformers in one form or another. I mean, it's been re-released countless times on DVDs in multiple editions, VHS over the years. It's had a lot of releases. So for fans to plunk down again for a Blu-ray set, they would really have to do a phenomenal job. And in order to do that level of work, it would be a huge time and expense that honestly by this point I don't think they would do, because the cost and the time involved in doing it would far outweigh any potential profit, because it's such a niche title by this point. I mean, all the 80s cartoons fans who want their 80s cartoons have them by now. And if they're going to upgrade them to Blu-ray, some of them will happily upgrade. Others will say, the DVD's good enough. So you get like the initial release, you get this amount of interest, and then everybody gets that, and then there's a re-release, and then you get with this amount of interest, and there's another re-release, and give it this. The interest goes down because the people just don't want to bother upgrading. They're happy with what they have. They don't need anything more. I mean, I saw it even when the Shout Factory sets came out. People who had the Rhino sets, you know what garbage the Rhino sets are by comparison. A lot of people I saw commenting on the Shout Factory sets said, well, I already have the Rhino sets. I don't see any point in getting this set. So so by the time we get to Blu-ray, the interest level is down here somewhere. So the potential profit margin is even lower, yet the expense of producing it is exponentially higher because there would be way more work required. So it's not even a matter of whether or not it's possible. I mean, in certain cases, yes, it's possible. In Transformers, it's possible. Gem, G.I. Joe, it's possible. They have film prints, but all those film prints have problems and would need to be fixed, and I can't see them justifying the expense of doing so when weighing it against the potential interest and profit of doing such a release. Now, that said, is it possible that we would get shovelware, much like the German releases? Yeah, absolutely. I think that's... I don't think that's a matter of if, I think that's a matter of when. Eventually, I think we're absolutely going to get shovelware. We're already starting to see a lot of standard F content appearing on Blu-ray. For example, earlier seasons of The Simpsons, like seasons 13 through 17 or whatever of The Simpsons, they only exist in standard def. So they've been putting out Blu-ray releases of them upconverted. So upconverted Blu-ray releases. So it's possible. It's absolutely possible, and I think likely that we will get releases like that. Now, will we get releases of a lot of the 80s cartoons that we all like? As I say, they're very niche by this point. They just don't have the interest level that they did, even 5 years ago. So maybe, but it's really hard to say which ones. I mean, I don't expect that everything that we've got on DVD is going to see a Blu-ray release. I think a lot of them are only ever going to be on DVD. But only time will tell. Alrighty. Well, I gotta run off to work. I need to have a quick shower and then head off to work. So, that was a lot of questions. So I hope I answered your questions. Sorry again that this took so long to get to you, but hey, I get there in the end eventually. But thank you very much for your patience there and for the awesome package. There's some great stuff in there, and I will definitely be watching them. Alrighty, that is it from me to you for now. So until next time, thanks for watching, and sayonara.